This is not a time to pretend here that there are two sides to this story. If this were happening in any other country, we would have no trouble calling it what it is, a dangerous power grab.
I know that I talk about the dearth of leadership in the United States. Just it's a precious metal. It's scarce. It's something of great value because it's not seen enough. But we're starting to see cracks in that dearth, in that the dam that blocks the leadership from flowing downstream. Well, I'm really stretching it with my metaphors now. We're starting to see cracks in that dam, and some leadership is starting to flow through. See, I pulled it out. It worked. And JB Pritzker, governor of Illinois, is one of these individuals. We got Gavin Newsom out there doing solid work. We've got Tim Walz out there. I'm going to talk about him a little later. There's a few out there who are speaking truth to power. Jana Mills, Maine, speaking truth to power, opposing the fascism of Donald Trump. We're seeing it. And yesterday, JB Pritzker went out there in the face of Donald Trump wanting to federalize the National Guard, wanting to invade with the military and occupy American cities. JB Pritzker was out there with a message in this first clip that I'm going to play to the media, which right now needs to be a beating drum 24/7 from anybody in power speaking to the media, because they're obviously not listening to me. They're obviously not listening to enough people who are in my position, who are calling it like they see it, who are actually talking about the reality of our situation with Donald Trump, with not just fascism on the rise or impending fascism. We're here. We're in it. So this first clip is JB Pritzker taking the media to task, asking them a solemn question, challenging them to do their jobs, not the way they've been doing it, but the way they're supposed to do it.
To the members of the press who are assembled here today and listening across the country, I am asking for your courage to tell it like it is. This is not a time to pretend here that there are two sides to this story. This is not a time to fall back into the reflexive crouch that I so often see, where the authoritarian creep by this administration is ignored in favor of some horse race piece on who will be helped politically by the president's actions. Donald Trump wants to use the military to occupy a U.S. city, punish his dissidents, and score political points. If this were happening in any other country, we would have no trouble calling it what it is, a dangerous power grab.
I couldn't have said it better. Don't both sides this. Don't normalize or legitimize what Donald Trump is doing right now. There's no precedent for what he's doing. Therefore, it is different and alarming. And you're not covering it like that. You're covering it as though, yeah, he's a normal politician, maybe a little outside of the norm, but yeah, this is just regular politics. None of this is normal. None of this is regular politics. And he took this message to the Trump administration, to Donald Trump himself, to Trump officials. I don't know that the message is necessarily for Donald Trump, because Donald Trump, he doesn't have long with us. Donald Trump's going to be dead in a few months, 18 months, maybe 24 months. I don't see him surviving this term. He's too ill. He's too weak. He's too feeble. He's not a nimble man, if you will. And so this message is really for Trump officials, that after all of this is over, you think you've grasped power for eternity. You think it's perpetual of you being in the majority. It's not. This will all be over, and we're going to remember. We're going to remember your names. We're going to remember your crimes, and you will be held accountable. And I, for one, am so happy that someone finally said it who's actually in a position of power. So thank you to JB Pritzker. Watch this.
Finally, to the Trump administration officials who are complicit in this scheme, to the public servants who have forsaken their oath to the Constitution, to serve the petty whims of an arrogant little man. To any federal official who would come to Chicago and try to incite my people into violence as a pretext for something darker and more dangerous, we are watching and we are taking names. This country has survived darker periods than the one that we're going through right now, and eventually the pendulum will swing back, maybe even next year. Donald Trump has already shown himself to have little regard for the many acolytes that he has encouraged to commit crimes on his behalf. You can delay justice for a time, but history shows you cannot prevent it from finding you eventually. If you hurt my people, nothing will stop me, not time or political circumstance, from making sure that you face justice under our constitutional rule of law. As Dr. King once said, the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends toward justice. Humbly, I would add, it doesn't bend on its own. History tells us we often have to apply force needed to make sure that the arc gets where it needs to go. This is one of those times.
He touched on everything here. Not everything. He touched on a whole bunch, though. That this is a pretext. They are having these secret police, the mass secret police, do what they're doing on purpose. They're doing it for a reason, to try to spark some kind of a resistance, that there might be violence, and then they can do what they want as they please based on martial law. And he doesn't use all those words, but that's what he's saying. That's the real fear. That's the reality of the situation on the ground. And to look at this through any other lens other than a lens of reality is not a service to America. It's not a service to Americans. It's not a service to our democracy. Secondly, telling them that he's got their number relative to the public servants who have forsaken the oath to the Constitution that they took, to serve the petty whims of an arrogant little man, and to any federal official who had come to Chicago and try to incite my people into violence as a pretext for something darker. We're watching, and we're taking names. This is a man, obviously, who endeavors to be president of the United States. JB's running for president, just like Gavin Newsom, likely like Tim Walz, likely like Pete Buttigieg, sure. But until those other individuals start speaking as clearly as this, they're not on my radar as someone I'm going to potentially vote for. Not in a primary, especially. Of course, in a general election, take any one of those people and run them against a Donald Trump MAGA idiot, and I'm going to vote for even the imperfect candidate, because I'm just that loyal to my country and her people. Anyway. I would invite you to this conversation. It is an important one. If you're from Illinois, you got a good governor on your hands. You've got someone who is bold and brave, and I don't know if it's because he's insulated by his billions of dollars. I don't know. Whatever it is, he's doing a good job, and he's saying the right things. And more importantly, he's doing the right things. He's behaving in the way that we expect, that we deserve. What do you think? You can comment below this video wherever you're watching it. You can also call the voicemail line, 714-576-4054. And of course, as always, you can email me daily at dollemore.com. Please consider supporting this work if you appreciate what I do. If I bring you value on a video-by-video basis, please consider $2 a month if you're in the financial position to do so. If you're on a fixed income, if you're on retirement, if you're on disability, do not. I don't want your money. You can support this show by subscribing, which is free, by sharing this content, by liking and commenting, but don't put yourself out. Don't make it a strain to support this effort. We're doing fine. But if you are in a position and you would like to help support, you can become a channel member on YouTube by clicking the join button below the video. And you can also go to patreon.com/IDoubtIt podcast. Both those are fantastic ways, and we'd welcome you. Anyway, I love and appreciate you very much. I'll see you next time. Be genuine and take care of one another.